Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. According to Spanish publication AS, Real Madrid are back in the race to sign Paul Pogba on a free transfer when his contract at Manchester United expires at the end of the season. Real Madrid think Pogba could help convince Mbappe to join next year. Real Madrid have been linked with Paul Pogba before. A couple of years ago, Paul Pogba spoke about Real Madrid, and at the time he spoke about his relationship with Zidane. And Pogba came out and said that he's seeking for a new challenge. Pogba has also been linked with a return to Juventus. The other week, Paul Pogba refused to rule out a Juventus return. After France beat Belgium, Paul Pogba did admit he always speaks to his ex-Juventus teammates. And earlier on this season, Paul Pogba's agent Mino Raiola suggested that Pogba could return to Juventus from Man United on a free next summer. He said Paul Pogba must take a big pay cut if he wants to join Juventus next summer. Italian outlet La Gazzetta dello Sport said that Juventus are prepared to offer 10 million in yearly wages to sign Paul Pogba from Manchester United. PSG are also in for him. League 10 Sports said that PSG are ready to offer 500,000 a week in wages to Pogba if he decides to leave Manchester United next summer. PSG couldn't get Pogba in this year's summer transfer window because they got Lionel Messi. And Barcelona and Inter Milan have been in for Pogba before, so he's had a long-running transfer saga. Recently, Paul Scholes backed Pogba to stay at United. Scholes said Paul Pogba should be delighted playing football in England as the Premier League is the best in the world, and Scholes also mentioned that Real Madrid and Barcelona are a complete mess, so there's no reason why he'd want to leave. But the other week it said Paul Pogba wants to stay at Manchester United and sign a new £400,000 a week contract. That would make him one of the best paid players at the club. Pogba receives 290 grand a week at the moment. Yeah, his current contract at Man United expires next summer. Before the start of this season, Pogba rejected a new Man United contract. And earlier on this season, it said he was very likely to leave Man United on a free next summer. But I hope he stays. Revert back to what I said before, because Pogba is a good player. Not only that, he's an imperative player. Pogba's enjoyed a very good start to the Premier League season. He's already got 7 assists. Did well on international duty as well. And Pogba produced good performances for Man United in the last couple of months of last season. But at one point last season, he was out with a thigh injury for a while, and he sustained some ankle injuries before at Manchester United. This season is Pogba's 6th season at Man United since he rejoined. He's won 3 trophies at the club so far, and he's our most expensive signing at the moment because we paid 89 million for him. And we had Pogba when he was a lot younger under the Sir Alex Ferguson era, but had to let him go due to limited appearances. So that's the news on Paul Pogba. Yesterday I gave you the news on Donny van der Beek. It said Solskjaer's private view on Donny van de Beek became public. Solskjaer still believes that Van de Beek has an Old Trafford future, despite his lack of game time. And revert back to what I've said before, Solskjaer needs to start Van de Beek, especially in the Premier League, because he's a good player. Solskjaer recently got accused of blatantly lying about Donny van de Beek. Many clubs have been in for him. It said yesterday that Juventus opened talks with Donny van de Beek's agent over a possible move in January. Newcastle are also interested in him. Everton remain interested in Van de Beek. That's what it said from Sky Sports News not so long ago. Everton were close to signing Van de Beek on loan, but Solskjaer rejected Van de Beek's exit. Barcelona are also interested in him. Fabrizio Romano said not so long ago that Van de Beek is planning to leave the club in January. The other week, Van de Beek's agent had said to be working hard on finding a new club for his client. The other week, Van de Beek was furious with Solskjaer as he was left on the bench in Man United's win over Villarreal. Van de Beek was spotted throwing chewing gum in the dugout, and it said Donny van de Beek will try to force a January transfer away from Man United following his Villarreal meltdown. Earlier on this season, don't forget, Van de Beek told Solskjaer his best position, he reckons he'd be best served operating as a number 6 or as a number 8. And earlier on this season, Van de Beek spoke about his Man United future in an exclusive interview with Rio Ferdinand. But this season is his second full season at Man United. We got Van de Beek for 40 million with add-ons included. He's got a contract with Man United till 2025 and he's versatile. He can play in 3 different roles. I'm expecting Manchester United to sell Anthony Martial next year. It said not so long ago that Newcastle are interested in Martial and they made formal contact with Martial's representatives. The Saudi Arabians took over Newcastle recently, so reflecting on that, Newcastle are planning to spend big. Man United will demand close to the 54 million they paid for Martial back in 2015. It said earlier on this season that Barcelona are considering making a move for Martial next year. Martial's also been a long-term target for Tottenham. Atletico Madrid were in for him last summer as well. Martial rejected the chance to join Lyon on loan on deadline day, and before the start of this season, Inter Milan wanted Martial to replace Lukaku because obviously Lukaku went back to Chelsea. But before the start of this season, it said Solskjaer refuses to sell Martial as he remains part of his plans. Solskjaer seems to have a lot of trustworthy in Martial. Don't forget, Solskjaer was the one that gave him that number 9 shirt. Martial played against Everton before the international break, obviously scored. That was his first goal for the club since February. Also played in the Carabao Cup against West Ham. The best season I recall Martial having was his debut season under Van Gaal. Martial's been at the club for like 6 years. He's got 3 years left on his contract. He scored 79 goals for Man United in all competitions. Last season he was out with a knee injury for a while. Cavani, I think he'll go next year as well. I can't say I want Cavani to leave though because he has made an impact since he's come in. Cavani surprisingly played against Everton before the international break. Cavani was out with injury earlier on this season. Cavani has got under a year left on his contract. It was back in May Cavani signed that 1 year contract extension and he's on over £200,000 a week. He said the other week that Real Madrid want Cavani on loan in January. And I think Barcelona will reignite their interest in January because Barcelona try to get Cavani on deadline day in the summer transfer window. Cavani initially lost his place in the team because of his re-signing Ronaldo, but as you all know, we're considering a formation change which will allow Solskjaer to play two strikers, and I presume it will be Cavani and Ronaldo. Juan Mata, I'm expecting us to offload him next year. Juan Mata's contract at Man United expires next summer, because earlier on this year Juan Mata signed that 1 year contract extension. I can't really understand why we extend his contract for another year, because Juan Mata doesn't get in R11, plus he's ageing up and he's lost that yard of pace. But despite all of that, Juan Mata has had a good career at Man United. He's been with us for 7.5 years now, so he's been a long-serving player. He's made over 200 appearances for Man United in all competitions and he's scored over 50 goals. We got Juan Mata from Chelsea back in 2014 for 40 million, and at the first part of last season he rejected an 18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. You know, you can put Juan Mata in the number 10, he can also be deployed as a right winger. Jesse Lingard, I'm expecting us to offload him next year. I want Manchester United to offload Fred next year because Fred isn't good enough to represent the club. I've got my strong reservations about Fred. We overpaid for him. We got him for 50 million from Shakhtar Donetsk, but I've got to make an admission and say Fred was world class during his time in Ukraine. I think we'll offload Tellez next year because Tellez doesn't really get in our team. He only played recently because Luke Shaw had a minor injury and illness. Tellez obviously played against Villarreal, scored a very good volley and put a good performance out. He also played against West Ham in the Cup earlier on this season, put another good performance out. The reason we brought Tellez in was to provide competition for Luke Shaw. But we've seen to get the best out of Luke Shaw since Tellez has come in. We got Tellez for 15.4 million. Diego Dalot, I think he'll also go next year. Dalot is our backup right back to Wan-Bissaka. Dalot did play against Villarreal. I thought he was poor against them. He did play against West Ham in the Cup. I thought he played well against West Ham in the Cup. You know, put some good crosses into the box. Dalot was out on loan with AC Milan last season, so reflecting on that, he gained some experience. We got Dalot from Porto 3 years ago. We paid 19 million for him. He's got a contract with Man United till 2023. Phil Jones, he'll go next year. Jones has been a long-serving player at the club. This is his 11th season at Man United. He's been with us since the Ferguson era. Did you know he's the only outfield player that's still with us from the Ferguson era? Jones has always been inconsistent, I'd say. At one point, he was out with a knee injury for a while. But when the summer transfer window was open, it did say Phil Jones is set to stay at Man United this season, as he remains part of Solskjaer's plans. I think there's a good chance that Bailly will leave next year. I can't say I want Bailly to leave because I do highly rate him, very good centre-half. My only element of concern about Eric Bailly is injury prone, so in that aspect he's a liability. And towards the end of last season, Bailly signed a new contract with Man United till 2024. There's an option of a further year. Now, I have been talking with you about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer on a lot of my recent videos. And Man United have 6 games that could be a make or break for Solskjaer. Solskjaer is under pressure because we've only won 2 of our last 6 games in all competitions. We are winless in our last 2 league games. But despite that, Man United are still fully committed to Solskjaer and have no plans to replace the club legend as manager despite a topsy-turvy start to the season. But the vast majority of Manchester United fans are Ollie out. Maybe there's still some Man United fans that are Ollie in. I can assure he's not the long-term manager for Man United. You know, you've got some Man United fans that want Antonio Conte to replace Solskjaer, and there's obviously been some Man United fans demanding Zidane in. Would it really solve a lot though if Manchester United decided to eventually sack Solskjaer? Because revert back to what I've said before, when results aren't going our way and when we're inconsistent, when we've been inconsistent, not all of the blame stems from Ole. He's accountable for certain things, but obviously there's still certain players at Man United that are not good enough to represent the club and they have to take some responsibility. I told you, there's a lot of United fans, including me, that have got strong reservations about Solskjaer's decision making because analysing the vast majority of the games he's managed at Manchester United, he's been tactically naive. Solskjaer is out of excuses. You know, Solskjaer received very good backing in the summer transfer window this year. You know, John Murtough backed him, who's our director of football. Murtough recently said that we need to keep control and we will not deviate from the plan. Darren Fletcher backed him in the summer transfer window. Ed Woodward's backed Solskjaer. And the Glazers have also backed Solskjaer, but only through persuasion. And Man United endured a very good summer transfer window. Solskjaer got the players he wanted in. You know, we made 4 signings. We brought Heaton in on a free from Villa, brought Sancho in from Dortmund, brought Varane in from Real Madrid, and we re-signed Cristiano Ronaldo after 12 years. We spent around 141 million in this year's summer transfer window. Ole's endured like 5 transfer windows now as permanent Man United manager. In the summer, Solskjaer signed a new contract with the club until 2024. There's an option of another year. And we certainly made a mistake giving him that contract, because I can assure he won't see it out. And a lot of United fans will agree with me on that aspect. This season is Solskjaer's 3rd full season as Man United manager. And I did mention at the start of this season that this season was going to be massive for Solskjaer because he's got big expectations to exceed. I've already said to you, Solskjaer has to win a trophy at Manchester United this season to basically save his job. He's not yet won a trophy as Man United manager. We haven't won a trophy since 2017. And earlier on this season, Solskjaer did say that we must leave a legacy of silverware. We should be winning the Premier League this season because we've got a title winning squad. Our squad must be worth around £805 million. And Solskjaer's ambition for this season is to win the Premier League, but I'm very sceptical that we're going to win the Premier League under Solskjaer's guidance. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013, which is 8 years ago now. Solskjaer will be celebrating 3 years as Manchester United manager in December. You know, Solskjaer got appointed in December 2018 to replace Mourinho, and he's been permanent Manchester United manager since March 2019. The reason we gave him the job permanently back in March 2019 was reflecting how well he did as the interim manager, but there was United fans that thought we made a mistake giving him the job permanently. We've spent like 441 million so far under the Solskjaer era. You know, Solskjaer has signed 14 players so far. He's also got rid of a lot of players since he's come in. You know, which he knew he had to do. You know, he's got rid of players permanently. He's also loaned a few players out. In Solskjaer's first full season, he got us to 3 semi-finals. And he got us a 3rd place finish. In his second full season, which was last season, he got us to the Europa League final. That was his first major final as Man United manager. He got us to the FA Cup quarter-final and the EFL Cup semi-final. So yeah, you can say some progress has been made under him. Last season he got us a 2nd place finish, and in his first full season he got us a 3rd place finish. I also like the way Solskjaer develops the youth, and Solskjaer's more or less given everybody their chances to express themselves, including the young players, like he showed he would do when he got appointed in as Man United manager. But despite me criticising Solskjaer a lot during his managerial tenure at Man United, I've got to give him credit and turn around and say he has done a pretty good job to say the current squad he was left with when he got appointed in as Man United manager. I didn't expect him to do as well as he has done, so in that aspect I am shocked. Because all he knew when he'd taken over at Man United, it was going to be a massive job, despite him knowing the club through thick and thin, and Ollie's managing one of the biggest clubs in the world, if not the biggest. Revert back to what I said before though, I am still surprised that he's Manchester United manager, because we've endured very bad periods under him where he's been extremely close to getting sacked. But the reason he's still Man United manager is because he's a legend of the club. Ollie is our 4th permanent manager since Ferguson. Since Ferguson, 3 managers have been sacked. You know, we sacked David Moyes after 10 months. We finished 7th under the David Moyes era. That's the lowest we finished in the Premier League era. We sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, despite him winning the FA Cup. And we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years, despite him winning 3 trophies in his first season. Mourinho also got us a 2nd place finish in his first season. But no one's going to replicate what Ferguson did at the club, and no one's going to last as long as Ferguson did either. You know, Ferguson endured what a 27-year tenure at Man United. He won 30 odd trophies, including 13 Premier League titles. So reflecting on that, he brought success to the club, but Ferg didn't settle in straight away because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at Man United. So that just indicates that it takes some managers time to settle in. Good job Ferguson didn't get sacked any time in that 4-year period where he didn't win anything, or we wouldn't have had any success now. You know the news on Raphael Varane. Raphael Varane is out for a few weeks with a groin injury, which is bad news from a Man United perspective because Varane is a key player. Varane came off injured in France's Nations League final against Spain. Varane went down holding his leg. Don't forget, he got replaced in the 43rd minute by Dayot Upamecano. So obviously we know Varane, he's not going to be playing against Leicester on Saturday. I think he's going to be missing the next, 4 or 5 games at least. Harry Maguire, he's still out with injury. He's a doubt for the game against Leicester on Saturday. Maguire came off injured in our 1-0 defeat to Aston Villa earlier on this season. I think they're the only injuries we've got now. Obviously we know Rashford's back. Rashford's in contention to play against Leicester on Saturday. Rashford was out with a shoulder injury for a while. Don't forget he had to have an operation on his shoulder. Rashford not so long ago scored twice in that behind closed doors friendly game against Blackburn. And Amad Diallo was injured, but I think he's now back in training. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon. On my next video, I'll be giving you a predicted 11 for the Leicester Man United game.